even after this length of time, this mead or hydromel is still very cloudy. So I'm going to try and clear it with some bentonite. Half a teaspoon. Right, now the bentonite's in with the mead.
What are you making?
I'm making mead, darling.
Oh, I like mint.
No, it's not mint, it's mead. Something you won't be having until you're much older.
Yeah.
It's like a honey wine. And the French call it hydromel. Then on goes our bubbler, and I'll leave that to clear. After following the pack instructions and adding the bentonite directly to the mead, not a great deal appeared to be happening. Ever the impatient one, I then added some more bentonite to some boiling water, just a small amount, enough to make it into a bit of a paste, and poured that into the mead and agitated. And then after a day I could see it was beginning to clear nicely, and after a week, as you can see here, beautifully clear, and I'm ready to siphon off the sediment to be left with our mead ready for a taste, and I can see if I'm going to need to sweeten it or leave it as is. Time for an investigulp. You can smell the honey. It's a faint alcoholic smell as well. It's very subtle. It's dry. You probably get more of the honey in the aroma than the taste. So I'm wondering, not just because of the, not because of the dryness, because the dryness is fine. It tastes like a dry wine that hasn't got a massive amount of flavour to it. It's very tempting to back sweeten with some honey to actually add more flavour to it, not just the sweetness. But as it is, it's a very clean taste. And you can't actually that noticeably tell the strength, but that's the strength of a wine. In fact, I'm going to have to look over my notes again because I made this last year and I can't remember the strength that it's meant to be. So I'm going to be careful how much of this I knock back. I can't make my mind up whether to leave it as is or not, because it's quite nice as it is, but I think it would benefit from adding some honey to it. So our mead started off with an original gravity of around 1.10, and it's finished very dry here at 0.996. So that's giving us a mead of, I haven't done the calculations yet, but I think it's going to be around about 13%. So I now know the strength of it. I'm going to back sweeten it with some more honey. But I also want to stabilise it so the yeast doesn't start fermenting again. And to stabilise the wine, I'm adding a crushed Campden tablet to this gallon. The Campden tablet went in only about half an hour ago. And now for such a small volume of wine, I'm going to add a fairly small amount of potassium sorbate here. Usual guide is 1 or 2 grams per 10 litres. and roughly an equal amount to the amount of Campden you put in. So now both the Campden tablet is in there to kill off the yeast, and the potassium sorbate is in there to stop any surviving yeast or subsequent invading wild yeasts from multiplying. So we should find that after we put the honey in there to sweeten it and add more flavour, we shouldn't get any further fermentation. To back sweeten this mead, I'm dissolving honey in some hot water from our boiled kettle. As for the quantity that I'm going to use, I've thought roughly how much would I add to a mug of tea if I was using honey. So if I'm adding a teaspoon of honey to a mug of tea and extrapolate that volume up to the 1 gallon demijohn, I think the amount of honey I'm going to need dissolved in the boiling water is going to be around 100 grams. Zero the scales and add our honey. Whoa, too fast, too fast, too fast. Okay, 111 grams of honey. Lovely. Now to dissolve the honey, it really needed a bit of a good stir with a sanitised spoon. Now into the mead it goes. Now this probably will need some time to clear, because quite often once you back sweeten with honey, the mead can go cloudy. So we'll leave that. Now it's only just today that I've put the Campden tablet in there, and I don't really fancy drinking the metabisulfite solution. I'm going to allow a day for the sulfur dioxide to come out of solution, and then I'm going to give that a taste tomorrow and see how I've done with the back sweetening. Well, as predicted, it's a little cloudier than before the addition of the extra honey, but a much stronger honey aroma. Oh, that's perfect. That's spot on, actually. I'm glad I didn't add any more honey than I did. It's not dry anymore, but it's not sweet. I'd say it's probably a medium sweetness. Yeah, or medium dry, I suppose. But what I felt was missing there, we have back. I'm very happy with that. Well, I think that was a great success. Cheers.